say this is a big rich town. I just come from the poet's part.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is Power Season 6, Episode 9, Scorched Earth. We are getting right into this thing. So after they made us wait a whole extra week to catch this episode, we first jump right into it with Tommy sitting in the car. So we know he found Lakeisha's body. He found her, after her and Tasha went through their thing and Tasha pretty much blew her brains out. He has cash in the car. He has the flowers, and the first scene is Tommy just looking crazy. Like I couldn't even imagine what's going through his head right now. But what he decided to do was take cash to his father. Now I know Lakeisha did not want that. This is not something that if things were gonna go her way, this is not what would have happened. But I guess Tommy figures that that Cash's dad Kadeem is a better suit for where he should be than himself. And it was just crazy to see Jesse Williams as, the father. I'm loving it. I'm here for all of this. He's got the tattoos. He's got all of it. So yeah, Tommy drops Cash off. And Kadeem is like, do you know who did this? And Tommy just looks so lost and so confused because he really doesn't. But he tells him, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And Kadeem lets him know, hey, if you need anything, I'm with the mess. So, we can handle this. You know where to come. You know where to find me. And pretty much when Tommy was leaving out the door, Kadeem was like, are you going to see, is this the last time you're going to see the kid? And Tommy was like, I don't know. So, I mean, at least he answered it honestly, but I really hope that Tommy does not just leave Cash and just, never looks back. That's real ugly because that's not what Lakeisha would have wanted. And really, she's in all of this mess because of her dealings with him. Of course, by her own choice, but, he plays some role in this. So I hope that he doesn't just ditch that little boy. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up, hit the blue bell for the notifications so that you can be notified when I do my next upload, and comment and share. I just want to say I really do like the fact that Kadeem did recognize Tommy's role in this whole situation, because it took a real man to even ask him, hey, is this going to be the last time you're going to see my son? So that lets you know that he does respect, he did respect the relationship between Tommy and Lakeisha. And even if he didn't, he at least respects the fact that Tommy brought him his son. So as Tommy's leaving Kadeem's house, of course, Blanca runs up to him. They're talking, and if you did not catch my last commentary, episode 8, you guys need to go back to that, and also episode 7, because I told y'all in that commentary, if not, definitely in the comment section, that Tommy was going to have an alibi. Tommy was going to be the one to, he was not going to clean up the scene. He was not going to get rid of the body. He couldn't. There was too much against him. He had to get, he had to get everything together before the police came to the house looking for Lakeisha, because we know Lakeisha has signed that paperwork. She was supposed to get Cash from basketball practice and then go down to the precinct. When the moment that she didn't show up to the precinct, they were going to come looking for her. So Tommy didn't know who killed her. He didn't know what evidence he had to get rid of. He had a body, and her son was in the car. So where was he supposed to go with this body? The best thing for Tommy to do was to let the police find her. And then he had an alibi because he was at the mall buying the rings. So I called it. I knew that's exactly what was going to happen. And that's what happened. So Blanca's like, she was going to snitch on you, right? That Lakeisha's going to snitch on you. Tommy's like, no, she didn't have a reason to snitch on me. No, what he said was, I knew she wasn't going to tell y'all anything. And this is a thing that I hate about them. They're always implicating themselves in something. Because, see, an innocent person would have been like, oh, no, what could she tell y'all? There's nothing to snitch on. But he told her, no, Lakeisha loved me. She wouldn't have told on me. So right there, you telling Blanca, there is dirt, plenty of dirt on you. She just can't prove it. Like, that's just like, that's putting the cheese in front of the mouse and wondering, why the cheese got eaten. So, Blanca was like, well, an innocent man would have called in the body, and you didn't have an emotional response to her death. And Tommy's like, listen, I dropped off the son, leave that boy alone. This is the end of the conversation. And once again, Tommy has a new car. Like every episode, he has a new car. I mean, it's cute, but that's just interesting. Over to Mr. St. Patrick. We get to see this building that he's been talking about, and I'm loving the building. They have security, and the building is vacant, so that's interesting. So he's standing there, and Ramona and Lorette come into his the new building. And he's like, well, what can I do for y'all? Why are you here? What's going on? So they pretty much are beating around the bush. And James picks up on the fact that, Lorette may need him for her campaign. And of course, we have Ramona that's like, well, I'm getting off of Tate's campaign and now I've signed on with Lorette. And Lorette tells James, like, Ramona was honest with me. I'm not going to be able to get over the urban community by, having connections on the back end, on the other side of things. James is like, so you need a black friend. She's like, I need more than a black friend. I need a black lieutenant governor. You need to join this team with us. So now James is like, oh, wait a minute. So yeah, they're trying to throw him into the race. And Ramona had already said she was going to do that. And pretty much what she told Lorette is, if I come on, you're going to have to bring James on with me. And that's what Lorette is there to do, to offer James the position of being his lieutenant governor, her lieutenant governor. Now, with him being as heavy a criminal as he is, I don't really know how this is going to work out, but y'all leave your comments down below. What do y'all think about James being the new lieutenant governor? So am I the only one who noticed how dirty Tommy's fingernails are in this scene? I don't know. That was just crazy to me. But anyway, he's sitting here going through his heartbreak because now Lakeisha's gone and he's experiencing the same mourning as James experienced over Valdez. And while he's going through it, he gets a phone call. And the symbolism in this is just crazy because, of course, in my mind, I already knew. I said it in episode 8 commentary. Or at least in the comments, he's definitely going to blame James for this. And lo and behold, who calls? G shows up on the cell phone. He answers the phone, and Ghost, all he's focused on is getting Jason to the building so that he can go ahead and get rid of him. This was the agreement that him and Tommy made on the last episode when they were inside of the club. Tommy was supposed to put a piece in the elevator box, in the electrical box inside the elevator. James was supposed to handle the rest. So James is like, he's on the phone like, hey, did you do what you were supposed to do? Did you do your part? Tommy's like, yep, it's where it's supposed to be. Tommy is super monotone. James, at this point, he doesn't even know Lakeisha's dead, but you couldn't tell Tommy that because in Tommy's mind, he did it and now he's playing the role. So Tommy's like, all right, I'm also going to play the role. Just by his whole attitude, I could tell that gun is not inside of that electrical box, but we'll see. Now, just like Sax used to do, Blanca is up here, popping up on Dre. Dre is like, listen, why don't you just leave me alone? So Blanca's trying to get information. He's beating around the bush with stuff. So she pulls out the ankle monitor. Oh, when this was on you, you were participating. But now that it's off, now you don't really want to talk. So she's pretty much dangling that in Dre's face that she's going to throw it back on him if he doesn't start giving her information. She wants info on Tommy. She's like, hey, do you know who killed Lakeisha? Dre doesn't even know Lakeisha's dead. But he was like, hey, Tommy probably did it himself or got one of his people to do it. Now we know he's salty because they threw him inside of the trunk last episode and then he winded up having to kill BG. So he's getting ready to get out the car and he was like, wait a minute, Blanca's like, well, where's a stash house? Where do they meet at? And Dre's like, you asking me, I don't know anything, but if you really want to know, they put me in the trunk and, kind of drugged me there. They kidnapped me last time and I had on the ankle monitor. So look at my last few locations and that'll give you all the information you want to know. He's over talking to Blanca, but at the end of the day, we know Dre is sneaky. So Dre gets ready to get out the car. He's like, wait a minute, something goes off in his head. He sees an opportunity. He's like, yeah, that's where they keep all their work. That's where they keep this, that, and the other. You may be able to find Tommy there yourself. So now Blanca's like, if this is true, we're going to shake them down tonight and they'll be off the street. So now Dre has planted the seed in Blanca's head and he's looking at it. So this is a way to get Tommy out of the way so he can become the distro. So now Dre is, he's in his glory. So now we see Ghost's angle. He gets with Jason and he's like, hey, I got this building. I can't really afford to get it on my own, but if you go half in with me, then we can buy the building, have our names on something that's legit and, have a way, it's clean money. So let's do this. That's his way of, that's what he's going to use to kind of rope Jason into meeting him at the building. And then we know once they get into the elevator, Tommy was supposed to leave the gun inside the electrical box and, bing, bang, boom, they done. So we can already see Jason's not really trusting it, but he's gonna go with it. So now in James's mind, everything is going according to plan. Now, over here at the Tate headquarters, Ramona walks in, and of course, she's playing both sides. Soon as she sees Tate, he's like, listen, we got to get rid of James. And we know Ramona's in love with James. So she's like, why? What's going on? What are we going to do? Tate wants to know who's running with Lorette. We know Ramona knows because she was just at the meeting, and it's going to be James, but she's not saying that. She's trying to get information out of Tate. So Tate's like, yeah, I got some stuff on James. Ramona's like, oh, what do you have on him? Tate's not gonna tell her anything. He knows better. He was smart not to. So he was like, I just know we're gonna get rid of him, and that's gonna be that. So we'll go from there. So Ramona is in her mind, I don't know if she went there to tell Tate it was over, but at this point, she's not saying what really is going on with Lorette in the campaign and how she's leaving, how she's about to jump ship. She's trying to get information out of Tate. And at the end, Tate says loyalty, a quality that any man would want in a woman. And that's very true. Ramona is definitely loyal. It's just not to Tate. So now Ghost goes over to Tasha's new daycare, and he sees Tasha and Epiphany chopping it up. And as he walks in, he sees Epiphany slide some money over to Tasha. So we know that James is not stupid. We know that, he knows what a drug operation looks like, and he knows who Tasha is. So he's like, please don't tell me you doing what I think you're doing. Tasha's playing crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, listen, that's neither here nor there. We supposed to go to our son's school. And Tasha's like, listen, I got an operation to run. I'm not going to anyone's school. If he has a meeting at the school, you need to go. So James is like, oh, so I'm the only one that cares about my son, then fine, I'm gonna go to the meeting. So Tasha pretty much told him, like, I've been home, making the runs, doing all of this, being mommy all this time while you were in the streets, so now you see what it's like, you handle it. And she pretty much says she's not going to the meeting at her son's school because what she has going on is more important. So now we know Dre is about his money. And after that little conversation with Blanca, Dre was like, okay, he's trying to secure his bag. So he calls Jason. He's like, hey, I know, this is the one that Ghost told you about. My name is Andre, blah, blah, blah. Jason ain't with it. He's like, listen, don't call me with no mess. You missed your opportunity. I'm done. Before they hang up, Dre's like, hold on, I got some information for you. You might want to check your situation because you're going to need someone to run this product through. And I'm your guy because who you have, aka Tommy, is about to get raided. So his operation's about to be shut down, so I could step in. I'm just giving you this little heads up. So Jason's like, now he piqued his interest. Jason's like, hold on, what you mean it's about to get shut down? Dre put that out there because Dre sees the situation, so he's about to exploit the heck out of this. So now Jason, Dre has put himself on Jason's radar. So now James is at the meeting, and he's with Radner, the drug-addicted, now drug-pushing teacher. And Radner says something to James that kind of, sets his mind off. He says, well, your son is a good kid. He tests great, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of amazing that he's a full-time student and he has a side job and he does so well in class. So now James is like, a job? What are you talking about? Yeah, his after-school job at the daycare where he works for his mom. So Tariq has turned in time cards showing that he works for his mother. He said he's just a glorified babysitter. Now, Radner could have kept that to himself, but I feel like Radner knows James as Ghost. I think he knows because Radner's got his ear to the streets. That's why he came to Tariq about the whole drug situation, because he says after that, he's like, yeah, he's going to be a big shot, a superstar just like his dad. What would make James such a superstar? I feel like Radner's digging for information. But because this happened, now James is like, oh, okay, see, he knows who Tasha is. He knows Tasha be cooking them books, and now he knows that his son is involved. So Tasha comes home. All of a sudden, James is sitting there in her house. He's just sitting there chilling, looking at the door. And she's like, oh, what are you doing? You broke into my house. First thing he said, have you lost your effing mind? Because he knows. Now, he saw the money transaction between her and Epiphany. Now he's seeing that his son is lying about having an after-school job. Like, yeah, okay, so Tasha's taking my son down a path that I did not want him to go. I thought we agreed this is not where he was going to go. Tasha's like, no, you need to get with reality. Our son has already chosen his course. I'm just making sure he doesn't get killed in the process. James is not trying to hear that. He still is of the mind that he can somehow keep his son away from where Tariq is destined to go. And I think it's too late. I kind of am with Tasha on this one. So what do y'all think? Comment down below how y'all feel. Do you think Tasha's doing the right thing by showing her son the game, or is she trying to use her son as a come up? And what do y'all think about James? Is he doing the right thing, trying to keep his son away from it, or is it just too late? So anyway, Tasha and James get into it. He pretty much is like, you're not doing anything right for our son. So she's going to tell him, that's my son. So it is what it is. And, they go back and forth. He's like, if you don't stop your mess, I'm going to go ahead and take gas from you. And I'm going to take your daycare. I'm going to just shut all your whole operation down. Tasha's like, hold on, you don't threaten me. You going to do what? So she starts to popping off at the mouth. He starts to popping off at the mouth. She jumps up in his face like she's bad. And all of a sudden, she sees a side of him that she's not used to seeing. Because he heard what she said, but she's not hearing what he said. We've already lost a child, and I'm not playing these games with you anymore. So if you continue your mess, it's game over for you. She was like, oh, you think I'm playing? Well, if you want to say anything, I'll tell the police everything. All of a sudden, boom. Y'all see what happened? She got slammed up and roughed up. You know, he kind of shook the life out of her, shook some soul back into her. Now she's scared, and she's like, oh, I'm going to scream. Okay, now he's like smothering her. So now you won't scream. And I think that like put the fear of God in her. So he's really upset because of the role that she's decided to take. So they have their little spat. He storms off and he tells her, like, you know, anything happens to my son, this is on you. So he leaves. And he goes down to his club. He's sitting in the club. He gets a burner phone. As we can see, the phone is sitting right there on top of the on the thing. So he calls down to the task force, and Lee puts out an anonymous tip saying that Tasha is selling drugs out of her daycare. And he is like, I'm someone from the community. I just want to let y'all know what's going on. So, of course, they're going to investigate. So he kept true to his word. Like, he just sicked the police on Tasha. So the feds going to show up at her daycare, and all hell breaks loose. And it's like this would happen. First of all, Blanca is she is overzealous to be leading this whole raid. And Epiphany is there. She just gets through the door and then here they come. Of course, they didn't find any drugs inside of the daycare. But, well, I say of course, but I guess it is a possibility. They could have found something had the Z or Zig or Zag, whatever his name is, had he been there or, you know, made a visit before they got there. But Tasha knows who did this. She knows exactly who's behind this. Blanca didn't find anything. So as they walking out the door, Blanca's like, have Team B move in on the warehouse. Now we know that's where Tommy's people are. So Tommy gives a phone call. He's like, hey, he's talking to Two-Bit. Hey, get all the guys together. We got something to talk about. You know, we have some business to handle. So Tommy just had all of them convene down at the warehouse, and Blanca just gave the order to go raid the warehouse. So here we go with some more mess. So now we have Roberto, Two-Bit, and Spank at the warehouse. They all talking about how they think Tommy is tripping. They don't know why he just called this last-minute impromptu meeting like this. And, you know, everyone is not really trusting what's going on with Tommy. They don't know what's going on, but they know he's flipping out. All of a sudden, here comes the drug task force through the door. Everyone gets rounded up and they get drug outside. Now, Tommy hadn't made it to the warehouse yet, but for some reason, he's across the street behind the fence. As everyone's getting drug outside and handcuffs thrown inside the cars, they see Tommy over there behind the fence, hiding behind the barrels. I don't understand why Tommy was behind the fence instead of being inside the building, or at least being close to the building. Like, what was he doing? Did he know? But we know what this is. That's Dre's doing. In Tommy's mind, everything is a result of Ghost. So they don't see, you know, Tommy doesn't see anybody else as a threat right now, just Ghost. So in his mind, Ghost did this. And what we do know is Blanca just ran down on Tasha, and that was Ghost. So this kind of looks like a similar situation. So it just sets it up to look like Ghost is the problem at this point. But regardless of who is or is not the problem, Tommy's boys see him behind the fence. See, the feds don't see him behind the fence. So now they think Tommy set them up. So now he's going to have enemies on top of his hands from his whole crew. They all looking at Tommy like he's a snake because he lured them there. So, you know, I don't know. This is going to be crazy. Interesting to see how all this plays out. If they think Tommy went against them, are they going to get in the interrogation room and turn Takashi? Like, we don't know. But we're going to see. But they are not happy because they feel like Tommy was behind this. Like I said, we all know who is behind this, and it's all Dre. So he's got his own little crew. He's got his own Primeras, and he's trying to, he's trying to organize his situation. Right now, Dre is winning. Dre is setting people up, and it is good because it's under the guise of Ghost. So no one is suspecting that Dre is behind all this mess. So now Drago's inside the car talking to Jason. Jason's like, hey, he's letting him know what he's about to do. I'm about to go meet with Ghost in this building. It's all legit. I'm just checking the building out. It's really no mess. Metal detectors, I can't bring a gun. Drago's like, here, bring the gun. He's like, I can't bring the gun. Drago's grabbing him before he goes out the car. Bring the gun. So Jason tells Drago what he needs him to do. Get eyes on Tommy, because if the intel is right, you remember the phone call from Dre, then there's going to be something going down. So I just want to, fact check everything. So Jason is walking into this meeting, and he's unsuspected, but Drago knows something is up. So the aftermath of this whole FBI, running down on Tasha is she could possibly lose her daycare. She's sitting there going over the books, just thinking about everything. And in walks Q. Now we know we haven't seen him in a while. I still don't trust him. I still feel like he's an implant, something that Ghost did in the past. Is directly related to Q is in my mind. I feel like Q is put here to make revenge. I think he's supposed to nicey up to Tasha to get closer to Ghost. That's my theory. Y'all, what do y'all think? Comment down below. How do y'all feel Q plays in this? Because he's a little bit too slimy for me. It's something about him I'm not really feeling. Kind of like that Effie chick. She's been out the box for a minute, so hopefully she comes back around. So I don't know, maybe they're working together. It's something going on. But anyway, he tells Tasha, you need me. I know that your ex did, had the feds come up in here. Then he sees her arm, sees that she's all bruised up. He's like, yeah, I can help. I can take care of you. And Tasha's like, listen, I want you, but don't get it twisted. I don't need you. I don't need you to take care of my ex. None of that. I got him. I'm going to handle this. And it's best that Tasha does keep him out of this. Because we all know what happens when new men come around into Tasha's life and they try to take up for her. Somehow James can justify getting rid of them. Everyone winds up dead. So Jason finally makes it over to the building. He goes to the security, and of course, it doesn't go off because he decided to leave his gun, like Ghost instructed him to. Jason compliments him on the building, and then as they're walking to the elevator, he's like, yeah, that guy you told me about, Andre, he reached out. And Ghost is like, oh, really? Jason's like, yeah, he reached out to be my new distro. So James is like, I think you should take the meeting. And if you like him, consider it. He's a good dude. But if you don't like him, just get rid of him. That's what I would do. And Jason's looking at him like, is that what you would do? Like, it's just that simple. Just get rid of him, huh? So they get into the elevator, and Jason tells James, hey, I have to admit, I really thought that you going legit was not going to last. I thought you were going to come running back to me to get back into the game. So I'm actually kind of impressed, a little bit that this is the route that you're taking. And who would pass up the opportunity to get some really prime real estate? And so James is like, yeah, he bends down to fake tie his shoe, untie, then retie his shoe. And of course, we know Tommy was supposed to put the burner inside of the electrical box. So as James is down there, he opens the electrical box, puts his hand in, and lo and behold, it's empty. Now we know it's empty because Tommy wants James to get killed at this point because he feels like James is behind, his demise at that, with everything that's going on. As James is down there and realizes that there is no gun in the electrical box, Jason gets a text. The text message is from Tommy, and it's like, hey, Ghost is going to kill you. So now James and Jason, they get to get in the elevator. And what I don't understand is with the extra time that Ghost had, he should have went to the elevator to do his own little fact checking to make sure that gun was in there. He had plenty of time before Jason got there just to follow up on what Tommy has said. But he trusts Tommy, and it almost bit him in the butt. But as we can see, I don't know what type of rage Ghost had in him, but the way, Jason had one of those wires on his arm. And so Jason came just in case some mess did pop off. He was going to be ready. So he tries to get Ghost, and in the end, Ghost gets him. What I absolutely love about this scene is through all of that, do y'all see how clean his cuffs are? James, do y'all see how clean his whole suit is? Like, Jason just bled out. He almost severed his head, but James has no blood on him. That's pretty impressive, but we know he's a professional killer, so I guess this is how it goes. As a matter of fact, his suit looks cleaner now than it did before he got there. So anyway, Ghost goes ahead and gets his finger, uses his finger ID recognition type thing to see what the message was that set Jason off. And the message is from Tommy. So now Ghost is like, oh, okay, so Tommy tried to set me out. Ghost is thinking fast. What do I need to do? He knows that that Jason had just mentioned Dre to him. So he was like, how can I do this? Dre's supposed to meet with Jason. I'm gonna get Dre here. We're gonna kill like 5 birds with one stone. Literally, birds are about to die. So he texts Dre and tells him, meet me at the roof, and he's impersonating Jason. He also texts Drago like, hey, so Andre Coleman set me up. So now Drago, which is Jason's people, are gonna be after Andre. Andre's gonna go up there to the rooftop, and he's gonna be discovered with Jason's almost severed head. And the way he's going to seal this deal is he has a security guard, this new armed security dude, and apparently he's on Ghost's side. So Ghost must have vetted him before he got him there. He gives him a little bit of money, gives him the burner phone, probably the same phone he used to call in that tip on Tasha's daycare. And he tells him, hey, it's a light-skinned dude, a little shorter than me, blah, blah, blah. When he shows up, let him go upstairs. Once he gets up there, call the police. So now James he's pretty much doing damage control, but it was cool to see him think fast on his feet like that. Like, some of these criminals really need to take a page out of Ghost's book, because I'm talking about not a speck of blood on him. He didn't break a sweat and walked out of there clean like nothing ever happened. Now, there are a few ways I could see this coming back on James, because we have to remember this building it's secure. It's wired. They have cameras. So maybe if the security guard doesn't really clean the cameras the way they're supposed to, it's going to put James up there. And just that whole air of ambiguity, once again, just casting that over him, they may not be able to pinpoint him, but he may become a suspect. Or when everything falls, breaks how it breaks, just pinging cell phones and stuff like that. But we'll see how this one's going to play out. And as if there wasn't enough going on in Ghost's life, he gets to the club and somehow Benny done made it through the door. He's like, how did you get in here? Same thing Tasha asked him when he wound up in her house. So you can break into your ex-wife's house, but you don't think that Benny can figure out how to get into your club? So anyway, Benny's there on a mission to get to the bottom of what happened to his cousin. So he says, why did you feed me all this bullcrap when I was here? You told me this Igor guy is the one who killed my cousin. And James is like, hey, that's what I thought. I mean, Benny went and got to the bottom of it. Igor wasn't even in the country at the time. So now he knows James is lying. He wants to know why. So push come to shove, James, of course, he almost lost his life just a few minutes ago because of Tommy's shenanigans. So he was all too happy to throw Tommy's name out there, because that we know from 2 episodes, I think, ago, that James put 2 and 2 together and realized that his son Tariq actually helped Tommy. So he tells Benny, I think it was Tommy. Your cousin Joe was going to snitch on Tommy, and he came to my house and, asked me to hide him out. He didn't tell me this, but this is what I've surmised. And Benny's like, nope, I don't believe it. He wasn't going to snitch on Tommy. Benny knows that conversation that he had with Joe, and he told Proctor don't do that. Proctor said he wouldn't, but at the end of the day, Proctor, he flipped sides. He was going to do it. So he's not wanting to believe this, but he knows that this might be true. And the reason James is like, I don't know for certain, because you got to think, if Proctor came to my house and he told me that he was going to snitch on Tommy, you think that would have went the way it went? He couldn't tell me that. So he came up with a story to tell me about Igor, and that's why I let him and his daughter stay at my house. And Benny knows he's telling the truth. So Benny's like, well, how did your son, he brought Alicia Marie to my house. How did that all play out? So, of course, Ghost tries to get him off of Tariq's trail. Oh, no, Tariq doesn't know anything. I mean, the police talked to him. He just went out the back door and blah, blah, blah. So Benny, Ghost offers him a drink. Benny's like, I don't want to drink. I want to get to the bottom of what happened to my cousin. So now Ghost tells Benny, listen, I'm going to take care of Tommy. Benny tells him, no, you won't. I don't care what you guys got going. I'm going to handle it. So while Ghost is over there trying to get Benny off of Tommy's behind, Tommy's over here trying to put together the pieces of this puzzle for Tariq and Tasha of why he's going to kill Ghost. He's like, yeah, so first he sent somebody to Lakeisha's shop to hurt my girl, but she took care of him. We know that had nothing to do with Ghost. Then, because she killed his man, he went out there and he took care of her herself. He went and killed Lakeisha himself. Now we know that also that had nothing to do with Ghost. This has got to be the worst acting ever. Tasha's like, oh my God, wait, Lakeisha's dead? And then Tommy's like, yeah, I know that y'all had y'all's issues. She's like, no, but that was still my sister. Tariq is sitting here looking at Tasha like, okay, I see where Tariq got his bad acting skills from, because his mother is no better. Her fake emotion at this point. But Tommy's not even paying any mind to that. Tariq is sitting here eating it all up like, yeah, Ma's lying. Ma's really full of it. She knew that Lakeisha was dead. And Tommy's like, listen, I don't need your permission, but I'm just coming by out of respect, because, we're family. I'm letting y'all know I'm about to kill Ghost. Ghost has got to go, because he did all of that, and then he set my crew up. Once again, we know that had nothing to do with Ghost, but everything is just piling up. All the evidence is piling up, and it's looking like it's James's fault, so James has got to go. And it didn't help the fact that Tasha knew for a fact that James is the one that called the feds on her spot. So she throws that in there too. Like, yeah, just like he got your warehouse raided, he got my daycare raided. So like I said, everything is just looking bad towards James. So Tommy storms out, and then Tariq has a real moment with his mom. And he's like, yeah, so what's the truth, Ma? What's up with Lakeisha? And of course, Tasha admits it because she says she's going to be honest with her son. She's like, yeah, I did kill her. I had to. And Tariq was like, what? Like, you killed Lakeisha and then you didn't even tell me? Then you sat there and lied to Uncle Tommy about it. She's like, I had to kill her because she was going to give you up. I did it to protect the family. And all of a sudden, while they're going back and forth, and she's trying to explain to her son why she had to kill Lakeisha and now keep it a secret from Tommy so he doesn't get rid of her behind, Tariq sees the bruises on his mom's arm. Who did that? Oh, Dad did that to you, or Ghost did that to you. This is what I can't stand. And I said this a few episodes ago. Make sure y'all go back and watch my other power commentaries. But I hate the fact that they keep calling him Ghost. He is not. He's supposed to be removed from this name. But for some reason, Tommy, Keisha, she was one of them too, Tasha, and now Tariq constantly want to call this man Ghost. That's another, by doing that, they're implicating him in so much mess. They should have gotten rid of that name 2 or 3 seasons ago. And then we have to remember that Alicia Marie has that little locket that her father, Joe Proctor, gave her before he was killed. And I really believe that is the recording that Tommy had in the car a few seasons ago with the one dude. He killed him inside the car, and the guy thought that Tommy was Ghost. He was wearing a wiretap, and he had to get it on the wire recording, saying that, or Tommy admitting that he was Ghost. And then Tommy's like, nah, I'm not Ghost. James St. Patrick is Ghost. Wrong one, but he still killed him. I think he shot him up inside the car, then set the car on fire. If y'all know which season that is and who I'm talking about, and y'all know what I'm talking about, comment down below, because I forgot the season, but I do remember the situation. Because then after that, that's when I think Joe Proctor had first saw Tommy kill someone in person, and that's what put the fear between Joe and Tommy, because Tommy went to Joe's house and had killed the guy in the kitchen, and then Joe had to clean up the blood, and it was like the computer was there, and but all of that. So anyway, let's get back up to speed. So Tasha's explaining to Tariq why everything is happening, how it happens, and now Tariq feels the need to go and approach his father for what he did to his mother. But before all this can happen, it always seems like when they have some mess going on, when they try to go home or go to the club to retreat, here comes even more drama. So Tommy's going back to his loft, and here comes Benny. Benny ain't come to talk. Benny came for business because he knows in his heart of hearts that Tommy's the one that killed his cousin. So they have their little struggle, and I hate how this ended because I don't know. Benny was more of a G. Benny could have went out a lot harder than this. Even Joe Proctor went out harder than this. So they're fighting over the knife, and I see the knife start to reverse, and I'm like, yeah, Benny's going to get him. I definitely don't want Tommy to die, but I did not want Benny to die. It was not his time. But now that he's, been stabbed, we see what happens to Benny. The question in my mind is, what about Alicia Marie? And just as I said a few seconds ago, Alicia Marie still has that locket with the information that her father gave her. So now that Benny's going to be gone, she's going to go into foster care or wherever she goes. And I guarantee you, just like a couple of episodes ago, Blanca showed up at the school with that book bag, Blanca's going to show up again. And this little girl may trust her because it looks like everybody around her is dying. So she's going to, cling to the female cop who's on her side. And that, if that happens and Alicia Marie gives Blanca that locket, it's over for everybody. So now Dre shows up to the building. He's all in his glory because his plan is just working out perfectly with little hitches going on. He goes up to the top floor, and lo and behold, he sees Jason dead, neck almost severed. And then on top of that, we knew that the security guard downstairs, he was going to call the cops because that's what Ghost told him to do. So he's going to call the cops. Dre's upstairs, and there's another security that's doing probably a perimeter check. He's on the top of the building, and he can ID Dre at this point. He shines the flashlight right in Dre's face, and then he sees that Jason is on the ground dead. And so yeah, that just pretty much put Dre right there. So we don't know how this is gonna go, but this is not good. And do y'all ever wonder how Dre always slithers out of these scenes and never gets caught? Like, Dre is a slick little something because they had the police and the security guards, but somehow he made it out. So now James is in his club getting drunk, as what seems to be per usual, and in walks Tate. And Tate's coming there to stand his ground and let James know, I'm done with you. Me and Ramona, we're moving on. You're not following me. I'm done. what Tate doesn't realize is that Ramona has already catapulted James into Lorette's her running her whole thing. So they're actually done with Tate. He's just the last person to know it. And what Tate does is he gets close to Ghost and he tells him, hey, I know who you are. I know you're just a drug dealer. And should I call you James or should I call you Ghost? And he says the name Ghost. So once again, this name is coming back to haunt James. And it really shouldn't even be there, but they just keep using this name. So he was like, I know who you are. I know all about you. And James is like, who is Ghost? And if I was Ghost, what would stop me from killing you right now? So Tate tells him, I'm too high profile for you to kill me, and calls him a boy. And then laughs in his face. See, Tate knows the name Ghost, but he doesn't know anything about the man Ghost. So James tells him, if I were this ghost that that you're calling me, and I wanted to kill you, I would just get rid of you, kind of simply like a ghost. You would just disappear. So now Tate's a little nervous, but he says, you lucky I'm not the, James tells him, you lucky I'm not the man that I used to be. So get out of my club. So before Tate leaves, James tells him, James was just entertaining this whole thing because he could have shut it down like, hey, I already jumped ship. I'm with Lorette. But he didn't do that. So he tells him, you'll see about my next move tomorrow morning on the news. Tate leaves up out of there. He goes to his office. Now, while he's at his office, he runs into Ramona. And he's like, yeah, I just stepped to James. He's out. We need to plan our next moves. Ramona tells him, we don't have any next moves. Tate is like, hold on, wait, what? Come again? Yeah, we don't have next moves because I'm jumping ship and I'm going with Ramona. I'm going with Lorette. And he's like, what? Yeah, I'm going with her and her running mate. So Tate says she doesn't have a running mate. And then Ramona tells him, oh, yes, she does. And her running mate's name is James St. Patrick. So now Tate has this information. Somehow he's linked Ghost with James. We don't know what Tate has up his sleeve, but we know Tate is not going to go easily. So Blanca's trying to put two and two together. It's just not seeming to fit. So, of course, I think her issue is that she's a little bit too straight-laced in her thinking. So she needs somebody who's a little bit dirtier, a little bit more crooked in their thinking. So she goes and finds Sax. She tells him that Lakeisha's dead. Of course, he assumes it's Tommy. And Blanca's like, no, Tommy didn't do it, So, but I know that they're all a part of this, but I need to crack. I need to infiltrate the system. So Tommy's like, well, Sax is like, according to him, the weak link between Ghost and Tommy is Tasha. So he goes with Blanca. They go to Tasha's house, and they call themselves gonna shake Tasha down for information about this Lakeisha killing. And the first thing they say is, hey, we need you to tell us the truth. James killed Lakeisha, right? And Tasha's like, no, James didn't kill Lakeisha. Why would he do that? And she knows she's playing stupid. But it's funny how quick she cracks when she went to Lakeisha's house to make sure Lakeisha didn't crack. Lakeisha kept it straighter than Tasha did, because I'm looking at the timer and it hasn't even been 1 minute and Tasha done told everything. She sat up there. All Blanca had to do was threaten to take a look into the murder that Tariq was linked to a little deeper. And Tasha just started singing like a hummingbird. She told them, well, James didn't kill Lakeisha, but I know he killed Terry Silver. Why would Tasha do that? And then, of course, they're like, well, did you see it? Sax is like, hold on, wait, what? And then he's like, yeah, I know that he did it. So Sax said, well, did you witness it? And of course, Tasha didn't. She's like, but I know that they would stash where they could stash a body. I know that he did it because of stuff that he said. So Sax is like, well, where would he get rid of a body? And Tasha's like, oh, I have no idea. Then all of a sudden, she can give them the exact location. They pull up on the car, and of course, lo and behold, Terry Silver is balled up inside of the trunk. This was crazy. I'm like, how did Tasha all of a sudden know the exact location? But she spent episode after episode running around trying to find Terry Silver. If she knew the location, why wouldn't she go there? Or, I don't know. This is just crazy. Anyway, Sax is there with Blanca, and he's back up to his old tricks because, he can't be straight. That's just not him. He's got to be a little crooked. So he sees an iPhone down inside of Terry's car. He grabs the iPhone, puts it in his pocket. Blanca's like, hey, did you find anything? And Sax tells her, nope, didn't find anything. So now the one thing that they did find is Terry Silver's body. So Dre's stressed out. He's freaking out because he realizes Ghost done one-upped them again. And he runs to Sax's house. It's funny how Dre, who is always in some mess and starting some mess, orchestrating stuff, always wants to run for help to the police whenever things get too tough. So when he goes and tells Sax is, we both want to get Ghost's so two-faced self off the streets, so we need to work together. Are you serious right now? So he's the two-faced one. So anyway, Sax is like, all right, cool. He goes in the back and gets that phone that he just stashed. He gives Dre the phone and he tells him to, hide it inside of Ghost's house, inside of his hotel where he's staying at. And Dre's like, so we about to frame Ghost? And Sax is like, listen, just do what I'm saying. So Dre's like, so we gonna frame him. Dre said it about 15 million times. Dre just wanted to hear Sax say, yes, we're going to frame him. Then Dre all of a sudden starts smirking because, of course, we know this just delights his heart that he's about to frame somebody, set him up for something they have really nothing to do with, but they kind of do have something to do with it. But anyway, so Dre was like, okay, so we're going to set Ghost up for murder. Like, he's just super excited about it. So anyway, Sax tells him where James is staying. Dre goes to the hotel and he stashes the phone. So now, that's about it for that. But we're going to see how this all plays out. And Dre is just like, once again, he's back in his glory because he's just too happy to do this, so happy to be a part of this. And now, he's back messing with Sax. The problem is Sax doesn't have a job anymore. So what protection is Sax really going to be? So Tariq comes up in the club, and of course, James is up in there getting drunk as usual. So he throws the key card at him, tells him he's not coming back to the hotel. It's over. James is like, so what's the problem now? Tariq tells him, whatever happened between you and Ma, whatever. He's upset about it. So James is like, this is your mother trying to turn you against me. And Tariq tells him, no, you, only person that could turn me against you is you. And you did that a long time ago. You lost me. So, just stay away from Ma pretty much because he knows that his father put his hands on his mother. He just doesn't know why. And he's not here for it regardless. So they wind up, Tariq storms off. His father runs behind him. And he corners him downstairs. So they have their little back and forth. And pretty much Ghost is telling him, like, everything, I've done, all of this. You walk up in my place of business that I've built for you and tell me I've never done anything for you. I'm your father. Don't talk to me like that. Tariq's like, oh, no, you're not my father. There was just a whole bunch of expletives. He was cussing his dad out. And he keeps calling him Ghost, this name again. But anyway, Ghost is like, you out here selling drugs with your mother. I know what your mother has you doing. I'm hip to the game. And Tariq is just like, he didn't even have a response for that because, yeah, his father knows exactly what's going on. And he's like, that's the best you could do with all the smarts and intelligence that you have. That's what you could do with drug dealers. Tariq's like, oh, well, that's what you did. It wasn't too good for you, so why is it too good for me? So Tariq was like, you put your hands on Ma again, I'll kill you myself. And walks off. So, Ghost is still telling him, I'm your father. You can't treat me like this. And he's like, don't get it twisted. Like, you may have given me life, but you've never been my father. Right here, all I say is this is what happens when you don't instill a sense of, a grounding when you have these kids and you try to put them into a better light than what you have, raise them in a different way than how you were raised. But you got to think the way that you were raised is what made you who you are, the humble humility that you have and keep you grounded. Now you have this child and you want to give them the world so that they don't have to go through the hardships that you went through. But I think those hardships keep them from doing like this and getting entitled and just being ungrateful. Because I don't respect anything about this scene. Tariq is just disgusting to me, who he is, and that's it. So y'all leave y'all comments down below. Let me know what y'all think. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, hit the blue notification bell, thumbs me up, comment, and share. And we will do this again next week as long as they don't cut our episode. And I think it's supposed to be like a super extended episode, so that one should be good. All right, y'all, have a good one.